Welcome back. As I have said, this course encompasses really introductions to all the subfields of political science. This is a lecture I typically give comparative politics students. I've adapted it for this course. I just wanted to give you a look, as we will throughout the semester, into what some of the other subfields look like. My hope is that I at least get one political science convert out of this class by the end of it. So here's your introduction. So this book, Why Politics Matters, that's the only book you need. This other one, Essentials of Comparative Politics, that is part of where I drew the material for this lecture I'm about to deliver to you from. It's on there because it's important in this class, as it is in every class you take ever, and just in life in general, to give proper credit where credit is due. So I'm saying these are not all my ideas, although some of them are, but I've drawn from Essentials of Comparative Politics, the 8th edition. My email address, jonathan2779@richland.edu. That is the best way probably to get a hold of me, the quickest way. You can also get a hold of me through Canvas. So this is a combination of Chapter 1 of Essentials of Comparative Politics over here and my own material. And again, I'm showing you what other subfields of political science look like. So what can political science tell us that we don't already know? We know from Chapter 1, political science is a social science. It's the study of human behavior, in our case, in the political spectrum. So in the 1980s, the Soviet Union was at its height. We were in the Cold War was coming to a close, but few people thought that communism would ever end in Eastern Europe. It seemed like a pretty entrenched thing. We thought modest reforms in the Soviet Union would give communist institutions a new lease on life. Boy, were we wrong about that. In the Soviet Union, I mean, one reason for its collapse, the factories in the Soviet Union were more focused on producing bullets and tanks and not focused enough on producing grain for its citizens. There's one area of human behavior political science could have told us. The Arab Springs, which again I referenced in Chapter 1, it began with this guy on the lower left-hand side of your screen, a young Tunisian man named Mohamed Bouazizi. He set himself on fire in order to protest police corruption and government indifference. Now, little did he probably know what that action would precipitate. Angry protests followed. The government of Tunisia was overthrown in a matter of weeks. As you can see, he's well honored. Mohamed Bouazizi, 1984 to 2011, an homage from the people of Tunisia. So more protests followed in the region in January, February of 2011, and the governments of Egypt fell, and Libya, with Colonel Gaddafi, also fell. The revolutions were all reversed in the end. As I said in the Chapter 1 lecture, it went back from, we overthrew the strongmen, not we, but the people in the Middle East and Northern Africa overthrew the strongmen, and they were replaced by strongmen. So why? Political science can tell us that. It can help us answer this question. So in the last 40 to 50 odd years, many of the traditional assumptions and beliefs that scholars have had, that policymakers have been entirely overturned, entirely thrown on their faces. We now know, and perhaps we didn't in the 80s, at the height of the Cold War, the Soviet Union, that new centers of wealth may reduce poverty, but may also increase inequality within and between countries. So the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. And that obviously creates anger, that creates strife, that creates a great deal of economic worry. Democracies can founder because of things like that. If the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer, if there's a class divide, if like what we're seeing in the United States now with a disappearing middle class, it can lead to something. Not necessarily, but it can. Democracies can founder, like I said, because of that. Religious conflict, maybe not so much in the West anymore, or economic conflict, certainly. Technological changes can bring us closer, can destabilize communities. Twitter, I mean, before it was X and Elon Musk took it over, it was Twitter. Twitter was used to communicate in the Arab Springs. They'd all say, we need to get together here and protest in front of this government building, or this leader's on the move over here, let's block his motorcade. And they could do that in pretty much real time through Twitter updates, or X again, as it is now. We can use political science to evaluate these conflicts and better understand why they are occurring. So the discipline is 5 fields. Richland offers classes. Again, I'm new to Richland. From what I could tell, they offer 2. They offer American government and state and local government. They call it different things than that. And this class, People and Politics, is kind of a mishmash of all 5. So international relations, American politics, and this varies from country to country. Canadian college students would study Canadian politics, South African students, South African politics. Country specific is really what it is. Public administration and public policy, and this is really what state and local government is at the college level. And political theory also, where we'll get in later in the semester to Locke and Rousseau and all that. And comparative politics, which is what we're getting into right now. So comparative politics, it's the study of differences. We're looking at the United States and the United Kingdom. We're looking at what's the same. We're looking at what's different. We're looking at why. The study and comparison of domestic politics across countries. International relations concentrates on relations between countries. How do Russia and the United States interact with each other? We can even get into the leader level. How does Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, how do they cooperate or not? We look at foreign policy, we look at war. There are these 2 particular subfields of political science tend to overlap to a great degree, and to sometimes they're blurred, because ethnic and religious conflict can spill across borders in the global world we now inhabit. Vladimir Putin can influence things that go on in Georgia, the country, not the state, through intelligence agencies, or the CIA can subvert. Well, they've done a whole bunch of things, and that's a story for another day. These classes are offered at 4-year colleges. Comparative politics, international relations was what I studied when I got my master's. Comparative politics, when I started teaching it at Illinois Central College, that became my favorite and is still my favorite subfield in political science. So politics, the struggle of any group for power that will give one or more persons the ability to make decisions for the larger group. Now that's a little confusing. I prefer Laswell's definition. Politics is the study of who gets what, when, and how. But there are different definitions of what politics is, and this is a valid one too. It's very broad. It's very all-encompassing. the struggle of any group for power that will give one or more persons the ability to make decisions for the larger group. So who can become top dog, essentially, and who can exert their will on the rest of the population. Power, we're defining as the ability to influence other people or impose one's will on them. It's very hard to separate politics and power out from each other. Politics is power, power is politics, but they are, at least in the literature, and when I say in the literature, I'm talking about the political science discipline, they are separate terms. The study of comparative politics can help us to understand power and politics. So why is politics in the United States resulted in power being dispersed among more people, while in other countries like Russia or North Korea, politics is concentrated power in the hands of a few? In North Korea, why is politics and power concentrated just in the hands of Kim Jong-un? That's a question worthy of consideration. Why is South Korea democratic? Why is North Korea not democratic? Well, we could just look at a surface level explanation. During the Korean War, we fought for a free and more democratic Korea, while China came down and took the other side. And it was a kind of one way to look at it would kind of be like a proxy war. And we end up with the North not becoming democratic because communist China is not democratic, while the United States, we at least pretend to be. That's a surface level explanation. So these aren't academic questions at all. These are questions that are profound, that are worthy of consideration, that are good social science questions that will explain why the world works how it does. They have real world implications. Recall at the beginning, Mohammad Bouazizi, who set himself on fire in Tunisia, politics and his unhappiness with the state of things in Tunisia literally caused him to set himself on fire. If that isn't real world, I don't know what is. Democracy has certainly backslid. It's gone backwards in many countries over the past few years. The United States is no exception to that. And the comparative method is a way to compare cases and draw conclusions. So let's look. Keir, the British Prime Minister who just left office and made way for Andy Burnham, and Donald Trump. All right. These leaders were in power at the same time. How did the United States do with X? I don't know. Monetary policy over the 2 years that Donald Trump and Keir Starmer shared power versus the United Kingdom. What did Keir Starmer do over there? So again, the comparative method, a way to compare cases and draw conclusions. What sort of influence does the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, have over his intelligence agencies compared to Donald Trump and his the power that he might wish he exerted over his intelligence agencies? Another thing you can study that is comparative. Inductive reasoning.